cousin Red Foley is on vacation. I don't know if he left because he knew I was coming or not. But anyway, he left a great big show. And if you want just an idea of how big it's going to be, here's Bill Ring. Two sweet boys that have helped make the Ozarks what they are today. Lenny and Goo Goo. And the old Jewel Theater here in Springfield, Missouri is just abounding with men. And here's one that could steal my heart away any day. Childre. You know, there's a distinguished-looking man that plays the fiddle around here that I wouldn't mind sort of fiddling around with myself. I mean Cecil Brower. And there's four real good-looking young men. I hope the girls with them are the sisters who dance here every week. The Promenaders and that old rascal, L.D. Keller. And taking over as head man in Red Foley's absence is a fine-looking redhead who can take me over anytime he wants to. Joe Slattery.
Thank you, and welcome to Jubilee, USA.
Oh, my, but you sure are pretty.
Well, that's awful nice of you to say it, Minnie, but...
And you have such pretty hair. Oh, I've been wanting to do this ever since I first laid my anxious eyes on you.
Please, Minnie, I
You don't have to say please to be handsome. No, sir, you look big enough to take just what you want.
Minnie, look, there are a million neighbors out there looking in on us right now.
Shucks, they won't mind, will you? You won't mind? See, lots of them are turning their backs so we can be just alone.
Yeah,
just
I know one that's not, though, Mary.
Just Mary.
My wife.
That's the story of my life. Every time I see one of these big, handsome fellers, they are roped and branded. Every time before I can meet them. Makes me some...
That was all in the script, Mary, there, hon. Honest. Just like it's written in the script, too, that one of the biggest talents of any show coming out of anywhere is a guy coming right here to sing a song. And I mean Bill Ray!
Now, honey, you do the dishes and I'll feed the old sow. Also the chickens and our one Jersey cow. Take down your curlers and then powder your nose. Big time at Jones's place, so wear your best clothes. There'll be no evening gowns, not even a tuck. They'll come in buggies, wagons, and pickup trucks. There'll be square dancing under kerosene lights. We'll wear our glad rags tonight, my honey. We'll wear our glad rags tonight. Cunningham will fiddle a tune. Red-headed kids will swipe away his spittoon. Then run and hide beneath bales of hay. But that old setting hen will keep him away. You look for me beside that old cider keg. We'll sip some cider and we'll shake a leg. Never a ballroom held a merry side. We'll wear glad rags tonight, my honey. We'll wear glad rags tonight.
My, say, it looks like a real happy crowd in our studio audience tonight. Hope you folks have a lot of fun. You know, if I'm not mistaken, right out there, too, I think I saw some signs representing some foreign countries. And I happen to know that's a group of soldiers' wives from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. They're celebrating their newly acquired American citizenship. They're joining us here on Jubilee USA tonight. And believe me, we're awfully happy to have all of you with us. That means there are 112 brand new citizens, which also means there are 112 more Americans. Yeah, that's fine. We need them like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's a toast to the TV show we like the most on ABC from coast to coast. It stars our boss, your friend and host, Lawrence Welk.
Thank you, Lennon Sisters. Folks, we're very proud to have these little girls with the Champagne Music Makers on your dancing party every week on the ABC Television Network. We really enjoy sharing the fun with all of you, playing your favorite tunes so you can roll back the carpet and dance with your best girl, or just sit back and enjoy the party with us.
So tune us in and you will see the fun we have on ABC. Be sure to join us. Take a peek at dancing parties every week.
And remember, you're all invited.
Dance to sparkling champagne music tonight over most of these stations. Well, the ringing of those bells means that Lenny and Goo Goo have worked up a brand new arrangement on My Gal Sal. You know, being around a show like this for 5 years, well, a guy usually has his favorites. And mine happen to be this next bunch of kids coming out here. Clean-cut, healthy, real happy youngsters who are as nice a group as they look to be. I mean the Jubilee Promenaders with Mr. L.D. Keller.
Now, for this is right, when you get there, we'll give it away. Let's go pull down and get to go round and round. This thing is next to brandy bars and get there, but not too hot. This thing is next to nail your home and get there, you've got to all. Hey, Eleman, let's nail man day. Hey, right, now let's get a half day shade. Now reach they say go all the way around. Yes, all right, in the middle of the town, and the opposite city with the left hand around. All right, we corner further by, swing the next girl on slide. Hey, man, listen to Eleman, hey. Hey, right, now listen to half day shade. Every station go all the way around. Just all right to the middle of town, and up you take it to the left and around. Hey, right, he's on the curve by, swing to the left to the long side. Nail him and left, nail him and dog. Go right in left and fall down, like a corn off the ball. I shoot just on a fine roll, a little hand comedy, long comedy, go here and there, comedy around the back. Hey, we get to the corner, girl. Now you can do the run back to the door. Hey, just to the right, head down, and walk along down on the far left, we find like nobody can. Now right in the front of the what's in the hand. Now left to the next one down the line, and what's in the hat gonna do this time? Hey, right in around the next little girl, and it's still handy, swinging whirl around and around with the pretty little girl. Hey, and left to the high-ho. High-ho! Hey, right to the left, there's no pass-ho. Hard to left to the corner round. Hey, hard to left with the arm round. That changes goes in there to go the opposite end. Go fast, go hard to left to the corner round. Hard to left with an arm round. Changes back to not too slow the opposite end. Go fast, go hard to left to the corner round. Hard to left all the way round. Now promenade the corner when she comes down, you promenade and do the do. Right off that floor and you're all through.
Oh, my. I know that so many of you are enjoying Red's album gratefully, and a beautiful, beautiful album it is, too. And I'd like to say for Red how grateful he is for the wonderful response of his friends all over the country. And I hope I'm doing all right sitting in for Red tonight. I know he's watching us right now. And I happen to know, too, that the next fella's scheduled to entertain you is a very, very special friend of Red. So I better make sure this next introduction is just as fine as I can make it. So here he is, that happy man from off Alabama, Mr. Lou Childre.
Oh, boy. Man, I'm telling you, and I thank you very much, and I'm telling you, the old Jubilee's jumping tonight. The old doctor is extremely happy because I'm going to have the pleasure of riding with me on the elevated train Professor Slim Hogan Wilson, the tall timber boys. So, boys, let me kind of sort of give them a little of this fabulous introduction, and you boys join in with me on the hot-chatty. Would you do that? Here we go. Well, it's riding on the elevated railroad. Living, take a look inside the rails there, window shades high as you can see. Now in the first room I saw a man a-shaving. He was frowning like the razor, heard his face. And in the next room I saw a bulldog gazing at a cat up from the window he had chased. In the next room I saw a lady cooking while the man was going through the evening mail. And in the next room I saw a little baby. He was trying hard to bite his dog's tail. Oh, it's riding on the elevated railroad. Well, it's pleasant and it just suits me. Take a day or night and know you'll find old Lou's ride some very funny sights you will see. Now you can ride in taxi cabs or in the subways. Airplanes are nice in summertime, but folks, you don't know what you're really missing until you ride up on the elevated line. In the next room, I saw a couple spooning while all the lights were turned down low. And in the next room, I saw an old lady praying for a man who just said, honey, I love you, so I'll behave yourself and be careful. Oh, it's riding on the elevated railroad. Well, it's pleasant and it just suits me. Take a day or night and know you'll find old Lou's ride some very funny sights. You gonna heard that? Oh, I thank you very much. You know, Red asked me while he was away, or while I was here, if I wouldn't kind of sort of give Joe Slattery here a hand in keeping things, boy, moving, and I told him that the old doctor would take over in the best way he could. That is in the most important parts of the show, but there's one thing, the most important parts of the show, and it's coming up right now.
Hello, my name is Wade Preston. You'll be seeing me each week as Christopher Colt, salesman of the Colt 45. That's my job to the lawless of the West. Beneath this salesman exterior, I'm actually an undercover agent for the President of the United States. Each week you'll be seeing outstanding suspense and action-adventure shows. Be with us when I face a showdown with a Colt 45.
Don't miss the action-packed, new, and different Western Colt 45 every week over ABC, produced by Warner Brothers.
Chris is welcome as bullets in dead aim tomorrow on most of these stations. Seeing how Red's let me take over the show tonight, I certainly hope I don't boot a few things as I have in the past. What I'm talking about is the fact that every pronouncer has a moment that he really dreads in his show. That is the moment when the tongue doesn't do what you told it to do. And I'm sure you've heard some of the most famous boots. The reason I mentioned it, I happen to have a little hobby of collecting them. We have a lot of fun passing them back and forth. One of the most famous, of course, was one of the originals. The announcer who one evening on radio said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Hubert Heaver." Of course, Mrs. Slattery's son has had his embarrassing moments. Let me tell you, I can laugh at the other guys. I've done more than they have. I remember one time I was doing a man on the street type program, you know, where you interview people as they walk up, and you don't know what they're going to say. You hope you do, but you don't. And I very happily asked a man on the street if he'd care to have a bottle of our sponsor's product. And his answer still sends chills through me. His reply was, "No thanks, have you got a Coke?" It wasn't a Coke. And then there was the time, we were all set up for a very, very fine coverage back in 1948 when former President Truman was making his famous campaign tour. And we were supposed to have a pickup right at the train, right from the back platform of the train. And I had a microphone in the hand with a long cord behind it, and I fought my way up to where the train was supposed to come. And then we found out that the train was coming in on another track over here, where the cord was, and I couldn't get back through the crowd. And there I stood and watched it. And we got no pickup at all that night. And I was sort of the goat on that deal. Of course, our Jubilee here has had its shaky moments, too, like a couple of weeks ago. At the start of the show, I very proudly announced our guest star was Stonewall Jackson. And at that point, Stonewall was supposed to walk onto camera. That's what he was supposed to do. Only he was still across the street in the hotel at that point. And then one night, quite recently, Red was supposed to open the show by singing a song, "Pack Up Your Troubles in Your Old Kit Bag," you know, and he was smiling, smiling, smiling all the way through it. And that's the way we rehearsed it all day long. But when the show started, Red sang, "Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and put on your old gray bonnet," came along right in the middle of it, didn't it? Nobody was quite as surprised as Red, nor any more surprised than I am right now. But at the moment, I've just chalked up another one. You saw a television first. I'd better not make a mistake, though, now when I introduce this next fella, because he's a wonderful, wonderful instrumentalist. He's a fine golf player, too. So, ladies and gentlemen, he plays golf almost as good as he plays that fiddle. May I introduce to you Mr. Cecil Brower. just a dragging the bow there. One of the finest in the world, Sonny. Wear it all that you're going to see fiddling to. Oh.
Now, listen, now, Joe, I want you to help me.
Hold on. I'd like to.
I'm needing help.
See that.
Well, you see, I've been coming over here from time to time, and I love to come over here because the folks are so nice and everything. But I can't get a feller.
Oh, you can?
No, I can't get to first base with none of these fellers. In fact, some of them I don't think even know there's a game. Now, I tell you, now, what I can't understand is here I am, a poor, country, innocent country girl. I don't know nothing. I don't even suspect nothing. And I'm back here where I could, might be able to say howdy to some of these fellas. Now, these other girls seem to get along all right. I was sitting out in the lobby just now before the show went on, working on my quilt, minding everybody's business but my own. And there was a girl over there right by me, and she wasn't a bit better looking than I was. She was about my age, about 19 or 20. And... well, I was fooling. She was a little older than that. I reckon she must have been 22. She was the date. And there was a nice-looking fella come right by me and walked over to her and asked her for a date. She said, I'm sorry, I'm married. He said, well, I'm married, too, and I'm just as sorry. But there was one fella that did pay me a compliment, sort of.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, one of these fellas back here. He said I looked like a breath of spring.
Oh, that was lovely.
Breath of spring. He didn't use them words. He said I looked like the end of a hard winter.
Oh. Minnie.
You know what the trouble is?
I know exactly what your trouble is.
Well, don't try to tell me all of it because we're only on an hour.
Well, look, it was just like when I introduced you to Cecil Brower today. You're just too eager.
Yeah? I did something wrong.
You did, absolutely. Right away, brought him up, and you jumped over to him, and you were hugging him, and you kissed him for about 5 minutes before I could even introduce him to you.
Yeah, well, you see, that's what's referred to as the grinder's switch approach.
Approach? That's no approach. That's a cavalry charge. That poor fellow.
Well, you see, I knew him in New York. We both up
Oh,
there.
I see.
You know.
I get it.
Well, we did. We were there together. And Speedy, too. We was all up there. All. And the Promenaders. Well, anyway, what I started to say was that there wasn't just me and Cecil by us there.
Oh. It's a large town.
No such luck. Well, anyway, what I started to say was I've got my fella Hezzy. I don't have to worry. He's got a heart of gold and teeth to match. And I love him dearly. He had a birthday party last week.
He did?
Yeah, had got a lot of nice presents. Got one present kind of silly, I thought.
What's that?
Monogram pajamas. I don't see any point much in there. Like Hezzy said, if a fella don't know who he is by the time he gets ready to go to bed, why bother? I've got something, though. I've got to leave you right now because there's a place down here in a drugstore right here in Springfield, Missouri, and they've got some perfume, some cologne, and it's guaranteed.
It is.
You put a little drop under this ear, they say, and the fella will grab you and hug you. Put a little drop under each ear, and the fella will grab you and hug you. I'm going to pour the whole bottle on and wait for the stampede.
Oh, that Minnie Pearl can really make you forget your troubles. A very, very real person. That's her big secret. But something that's not a secret for anybody is something else that's very real.
You've got a date with danger. The name is McGraw, folks. That two-fisted Irishman with roving feet that always lead him down the road to adventure. In ABC's fast-moving action series, Meet McGraw. What's his first name? Darned if we know. But one thing we do know, he's the kind of guy who always manages to turn up someplace you don't expect. You'll meet McGraw in a blind alley with death closing in on him. In a western ghost town with a lynch mob surrounding him. Or a lady in distress might be lucky enough to meet McGraw. But wherever he pops up, we guarantee that's where the action is. 30 fast-moving minutes of mystery and suspense every week on ABC when Frank Lovejoy stars in Meet McGraw.
McGraw hunts a tycoon's missing wife tomorrow over most of these stations.
He's riding home. Sun goes down, work's all done. Evening's here at last. The moon comes up behind the hillside.
that lonesome cowboy riding down that lonesome trail. Moonlight shadows swaying to the tune of his lonesome wail. Well, he's riding home. He's riding home. Bed down, doggy, rest a while. I'll be back tomorrow morning and take you down to where the water's cool. Now I'm riding home. See that lonesome cowboy riding down that lonesome trail. Moonlight shadows swaying to the tune of his lonesome wail. Well, he's riding home. He's riding home.
Yesterday they go the tall timber boys. Yesterday going riding home, but really not for true, no siree, because they're going to be back. In fact, every particle of this Jubilee USA is going to be back immediately after station identification.
Now, Elvin, listen to this thing, too. All right, and let's go back a few. About 3 times, to be exact. Right, you those in long stand, pull her by. Swat, please.
Adventures of the Press. See Dame Clark on Deadline for Action tomorrow night over the ABC Television Network.